If you are contemplating a move to Houston, it is essential that you assess the top 5 reasons that we're going to be discussing. There's a very good reason why people are relocating, as it offers an attractive job market, high quality living, and all of the benefits of living in an urban center. Houston's the 4th most populous city and is experiencing substantial growth in the housing market. My family and I, we relocated here from the Netherlands February 2022, and we haven't looked back since. When we moved here, we didn't know where to live, and we were putting corporate housing in a pretty terrible area, and that makes you second guess whether we made the right decision. We found a place that we truly love, and we're here to share our insights so that you can find a place that you're going to be excited about from day one. You're probably already familiar with the extreme weather condition Houston accommodates, like scorching summers, high humidity, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, and hail. I'm originally from the Netherlands, and the number one questions locals always ask me, so what do you think of the weather? Honestly, I love the heat. I love this weather. In the Netherlands these days, we might have a handful of them. Most of the homes in the Netherlands do not have air conditioning. But if you dress appropriately and take the chances to cool off, even if I'm doing yard work, I can't wait to jump in that pool and just get that refreshing coolness. Also, when we're doing day trips and they've got these splash pads for the kids, it is epic. Obviously, the cost of homeowners insurance is compounded here in Houston by the amount of claims that take place. Weather is the main driving source for these claims. The average cost for homeowners insurance in Houston is around $5,500 a year. Nationwide, the average is $2,500 a year. That means it's more than double the national average. I have a modest house. It's nothing special. I pay just around $4,000 a year, and then you need to get the flood insurance separate. Flood insurance on average is $700 a year. Even though I don't live in a flood zone or on a floodplain, you have to remember that flooding can happen anytime, anywhere. Think of drainage issues, or anything can happen. The weather obviously has an impact on the water bill. On average, I pay $158 monthly. It's not too bad. I do have a pool, and we do have guests visiting quite often. Neighbors across the street, they pay about half. They don't have the pool, and they don't have as many visitors. It does peak sometimes. This was my most expensive. I had to refill the pool a little bit, also because of the heat we were having. We were also having a bit of drought, so this is taking care of the lawn as well. But this is more or less what I have in regards to monthly payments. Yours is going to vary as well, depending on how many families you have living there, what kind of water usage you're into, and whether or not you have that pool. I think that's the main water expense. The weather plays a significant role in energy consumption. I live in a 2,300 square foot house with my wife and 2 children. I work remote. I love working from home, so I'm home all the time. In the summer, the AC's running full time. This is an overview of my payments over the last 12 months. As you can see, in the summer month, it's hovering at around, and on this one, just over $500. I love working from home. I'm home all the time. I've got the AC cranking, considering the amount of energy we're using. Obviously this is expensive, but the bills average out to $300 a month, which, considering what we use, I think is quite fair. You have a ton of energy providers to choose from. So if you just moved here, or you're planning on moving here, and you're trying to decide on what energy company to go with, there's a ton to choose from. These are 2 sites that'll kind of help you choose. This one's Compare Power. All you have to do is put your address in and your expected usage, and it'll give you the providers within your areas and their plans, and it'll match what they think is best. There's another one. It's called Energy Ogre. It's similar. I'm not affiliated with any of them, but they are great tools to use. So the state of Texas is known for their high property taxes. Property taxes in Houston vary from around 2 to 4%, the median of that being 2.2 to 2.8%. For example, if you're purchasing a $600,000 house with a 2.5% property tax, that's $15,000 annually. This is a cost that doesn't go away. It comes back every year. In the future, I'm going to make a separate video covering all of the tax details, including the independent school districts and the cost related to that. I personally came from a place where the income tax was so high that the property taxes are very beneficial to me. It's all relative, so depending on where you're coming from, it's going to have a positive or negative effect on your wallet. Houston, Texas is massive. Therefore, anytime you're going to go anywhere, the distance is usually quite vast. Car dependency for this reason is paramount. There are public transportation options, although they do confine themselves to downtown. The rapid population growth in Houston has led to significant increase in traffic congestion, emerging as a primary concern for residents. So with my experience, most of the traffic-related congestion is within the suburban areas. Getting in and out of the suburbs is a large part of the commute. I've stayed in the Woodlands for 2 weeks, and the larger part of my commute was getting in and out of the Woodlands. Same exact thing. I'm living in Kingwood and I'm experiencing exactly that. I'm living in the back of Kingwood, and the larger part of my commute is getting in and out of Kingwood. We basically only have 2 exit roads, and once they get congested, you're just waiting. If I'm going outside of rush hour, for example, I can be downtown within 30 minutes. Anytime I'm traveling within rush hour, 45 to an hour is standard. If there's real traffic, also on the 59, it could take me much longer than that. So yeah, anticipate on sitting in traffic and taking the time to get to the place where you need to go. I'm experiencing this in I want to say all the other suburbs. I go to a lot of suburbs for my work, and I'm experiencing the exact same thing. Getting in and out of the suburbs is a large part. If you're traveling downtown is a place that gets very heavily congested, especially during rush hours. It's I love a lot of the places downtown. One of my favorite places is the Heights, and the reason I like the Heights is because of the walkability. And then on top of that, you do have some public transport options that work quite well. Just count on being in traffic if you're choosing to live in Houston. I've said this before in the video, it is paramount that you move to a place that you're going to love from day one. I know a lot of people that don't mind making the commute. They don't mind living an hour out, and they just want that land, maybe an acre or more of land, and really get into that country living. If you want more of that city feeling and have all the amenities that the city has to offer, it's important to get as strategic as possible in a neighborhood that still has everything you're looking for. Whether you're looking for that city life or country living, we're going to help you find exactly what you're looking for. We're experts at what we do, and we love helping people. So just reach out day or night. I can't wait to hear from you. You don't realize how bad mosquitoes can be until you move to Houston. I'm sure there's some other states as well that are quite south, and then I'm thinking of Louisiana or Florida. I've also lived in Florida. In certain parts of Florida, the mosquitoes are terrible, but I've never experienced them like Houston. Even when we're out in the pool and it's the moment that the sun goes under, these mosquitoes just come out. My kids will be covered. You can only sit out there if you have a fan blowing on you. There are some things that work. Obviously, some of these DEET sprays are great. You've got thermocells that work pretty well, but then you don't have that fan. If the moment you turn a fan on with thermocell, you kind of just blow all of that thermocell, whatever it is they put in the air, you kind of just blow that away. But if you have a fan blowing on you hard enough, they usually don't get to you. I've also got one of these lights, these insect lights. They do work quite well. I kind of put them out in a corner, and you hear that thing going off all night long. But the mosquitoes are crazy. Also, when you're visiting some of these national parks, when you come in, they'll have a mosquito rating, how bad the mosquitoes are. I've been there a couple of times where it was in it's like a red zone. I don't know if it's a danger zone, but it is literally unbearable. Even when you're spraying yourself, they're getting through your shirt. It makes that place not enjoyable. The good news is mosquitoes are not here all year. The bad news is when they're here, they are terrible. Most HOAs, they spray against the mosquitoes. The ones in Kingwood, the one in my neighborhood, comes every Thursday night. If they're spraying out in the street and you're in the backyard, you better go in because you do not want to breathe this poison. If you suffer from allergies, get ready to be sick here twice a year like my wife does. I don't have any allergy issues, and even I start sniffing during allergy season. The amount of pollen in the air during spring and fall is tremendous. There's a massive amounts of trees and plants here in Houston, which makes it very beautiful, especially when you're visiting some of these state parks or green areas within Houston. It's awesome. The downside is the amount of pollen that's in the air is massive. The heat in Houston can be unbearable, especially in the summertime. Coupled with the humidity, it's out of control how hot it really gets. I've mentioned before how I love the heat and I can't get enough of it. I honestly think if you plan accordingly, make sure you stay hydrated and don't overheat. I always seek cool areas, even if we're out, if we go out to the skate park in the weekends. Obviously, we're not going in the middle afternoon. We'll go towards the evening or maybe early in the morning. And even when we go during these time periods, we will be sweating buckets. It is hot. It is very hot. But all of the activities that go along with this heat for me are great. I love getting out on the boat. I love getting out on the water. It's awesome. It's awesome. Whether we're hanging out by the pool, doing a little bit of a barbecue, and you do have to come in sometimes to cool off a little bit or jump in the pool to cool off. As long as you're staying cool and dressing appropriately, I think it's very manageable. Obviously, when I'm working, I'm seeking more that air conditioning and going from car to inside and staying within a climate-controlled area. But in my free time, and I don't have to dress appropriately, I love getting out in the elements. I can't get enough of the outdoors. I can't get enough of this outdoor living that Houston has to offer. Your satisfaction is our top priority. We're committed to helping you settle in and embrace everything Houston has to offer from day one. We're here to help you every step of the way. Don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to speaking to you personally. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel and be sure to hit the bell notification key to stay updated on all the Houston related content that we will be releasing.